Welcome to the apex of sports ownership, the Apex Athletic Collective.
Welcome in everyone to episode 61 of Instigate Success. I am your host as always, Jake Schoen, aka Jakey Muffins, here for the 61st episode of Instigate Success. As always, 9 p.m. Eastern here on Fridays, streaming on Patreon. We'll jump into this week's episode. We've got just under a month now at this point. That first game is the 26th of October, so literally just under a month at this point until our home opener game. Again, that's going to be both our home opener and our season opener now with that schedule change. So that puts it as our first game of the year, first game in Fishers, first game at the new venue, the Best Choice Fieldhouse, and our first game of our second season in the ABA. But we get to play a familiar foe, the Louisville Pros, Saturday, October 26th, 7:30 p.m. And again, that game is presented by the Stites family, one of our wonderful sponsors for this upcoming season. And you can go ahead, get your tickets on our website, www.apexofsports.com/tickets. We'll jump over to the website at some point tonight. But that again is just a reminder, we've got a month left until we see some ABA action on the court. And those games, again, if you're not able to make it in person, we'll be streaming here live on our Patreon. So all of our Patreon subscribers will be able to catch the games live again this upcoming season. But that is the big thing, that we've been talking about for the past few weeks, and now we have less than a month now at this point until that big day. But still got time if you do want to make it out in person, fill up the venue. I know I plan on being there myself. I'm getting my travel arrangements made at uh, well, working on it now, but I will be there for that home opener game. So definitely looking forward to that. I know I've mentioned in the past that first game, that first home game at the Clinton CRC, definitely one of the most memorable experiences that I've had in my life. To see all those people coming out to support the Instigators for our first home game. I'm sure this will be another very memorable experience for this upcoming season with our first ever home game at Fishers. But we look forward to that. First of many home games there at the Best Choice Fieldhouse in Fishers, Indiana. But that is coming up sooner than later at this point. So just under a month until then. We've got that updated schedule, as I mentioned, with the rearrangement of that game that was initially supposed to be our season opener and away game, but the season opener that got shifted back later in the season, back to February, I do believe, and that makes it so now our first game is that home opener against the Louisville Pros, October 26th. Then we go on the road against another familiar team, the Indiana Legends. We've had several matchups with both of those teams last season in our inaugural season, where we were in the same division as those teams in the red division. Now we are in the black division, so a little bit of a different divisional standpoint this upcoming season, but we still play a lot of the teams that we faced off against last year. We go on a 3-game home stretch, so that is, you see there in that new graphic, the home and away games are color coded. So you see you've got a nice stretch there of the 3 home games against the Wizards, Kings, and the Pipples. Again, the Wizards, that'll be our first matchup against them. Kings we faced off a few times, and the Pipples, that would be our first matchup against them as well. But that will be a nice home stretch there. Get things rolling in Fishers, and kind of establish ourselves as the new new basketball team in the area. And I think after that, we'll have 4 home games to start off out of the first 5 games. Then we go on the road. I know I've mentioned that. That seems to me, I think that'll be a pivotal point in the season, where we go for that home stretch, going on to that one road game against the Pipples directly after we have a home matchup against the Pipples. So that's going to be a good game, in my opinion, to kind of see the adjustments that we're able to make week in and week out. Obviously the home team is always going to be have a little bit of the advantage. You have more of the home fans. So for us to go against the Pipples at home and then away, I think that is a really good test to see how we're able to match up against literally the same team, but implementing what we learn from our matchups in that first game going into the second game. And it looks like my camera went out somehow. So we'll try to work through that. There you go. Got that fixed. But implementing what we're able to see, and learn from that first matchup going into the second matchup, I think is going to be key for both of the teams. But I do have those 2 games circled as kind of a point in the season to kind of self-reflect, I think. Then we come back home against the Legends and the Fury, and that'll put us almost at the end of the year. And then we got the one last game against the Wizards on the road. But the Legends, we faced off a few times, and then the Fury, the defending champions at home, right towards the end of the year and the holiday season. That is, I think, going to be one of the best games if you can go out there and attend. Especially with the holidays and playing the defending champions. I think we're gonna have a full house for that one. I'm really looking forward to that as well. I know I try to make it out to several games, as many as I can in person, but I definitely have that one circled on my calendar to see if I can make it for that. And then we wrap up the 2024 year of our season against the Columbus Wizards. That'll be our second matchup against the Wizards, and that's kind of a nice another nice point in the season to hit that self-reflection, see where we stand at the end of 2024. And we have a good amount of home games to start off the season. So it'll be interesting to see, I think, as we develop later in the season, how we perform on our road games compared to how we perform in the home games. And I think the other benefit of having all those home games to start off the season is it helps with team chemistry. I think if we can keep the guys close, and in the same general area, it makes it a little bit easier as far as getting practices in and having the whole unit of the team building that chemistry. Obviously, once we go on the road, then you got to add in travel arrangements and travel time. So sometimes that can cut into, potentially some practice time as well. Then we jump into the 2025 part of the season. We have 2 home games to start off 2025 against the Aces and the Monstars. Again, we faced the Aces in the past. The Monstars will be our first matchup. A pretty unique name there for the Midwest Monstars. Then we go on those road game stretches, 3-game road game stretch against the Blaze, the Fury, and the Blaze, again for the second time. And that one is uh, going to be another one I have circled as a kind of like an evaluation thing for the 11th and the 12th. We go from home against the Midwest Monstars, and then we have that road matchup against the Michigan Blaze. So that's going to have that travel aspect involved with that. And compared to last season, we didn't have any of those back-to-back games with Saturday and Sunday. But I think that is going to be one of the key things going into the playoffs. That is how the system works once we get into the playoffs. We have to play in games, we have the tournaments, and those games typically do run back to back days, Saturday and Sunday. So for us to have Saturday and Sunday matchups where we're on the road and traveling, I think that is something to, build on going into the playoffs and develop that kind of extra stamina, I guess is the best way to put it, when you go into back to back matchups in the following day, especially when you have to travel on the road as well. And then you got the Fury the following week, again the defending champions. And then the Blaze will go back there for the following week. Then we have a one home game break against the Ohio Kings. Then we go on a 4-game road stretch against the Pitbulls, the Monstars, the Kings, and the Aces. And again, with how that schedule got shifted, that makes our game there against the Aces. That's another one of those back-to-back day. So Ohio Kings will play against, and then the following day we will play against the Nashville Aces. Both of those games on the road, so travel involved in all of that. From Indiana to Ohio and then to Nashville. Then we wrap up the season against the Maysville Miners. So that is our final game of the season. And you can scan that QR code there directly to get your tickets. And we've got pricing for the tickets. So each game is $10 for adults, $5 for kids and seniors. Or you can go ahead, get yourself the season tickets. That'll include tickets to all home games for only $90. And you also get exclusive perks with that as well. Some of that would include meeting the players, exclusive player and coach meet and greet, and photo opportunities. With that, may also be some exclusive merchandise throughout the season. But we have. Lots to look forward to in this upcoming season. Again, that is at our new home venue, the Best Choice Fieldhouse in Fishers, Indiana. Just under a month until we hit that season 2 for the Hoosier State Instigators. But before we jump into the ABA season, we do have an announcement. We made this week. We will be having an exhibition game against the Indiana Shuckers. That is actually coming up real soon. That's October 4th. So that will be, is that next? Yes, next week. Actually, a week from today. I didn't realize it was Friday, but that is a Friday. I thought it was Saturday. Friday, October 4th. That is going to be 7:15. We will be facing off against the Indiana Shuckers at our new home venue, the Best Choice Fieldhouse in Fishers, Indiana. You can actually get tickets to this game as well. Tickets for this one are free. You can go ahead on our website, go to the ticketing site, a ticketing page on the site, and get yourself tickets to this game. They are free, but it is set up as pay as you wish. So if you did want to make payment for the tickets, you are also able to do that. But there is no payment required. You can get the tickets for free. But that's a week from today. You can get there at 7 o'clock, and tip will be 7:15, maybe 7:30. Again, that is going to be an exhibition game. The Indiana Shuckers, from the IBL, they are joining the ABA this upcoming season. It'll be their first season in the ABA. They are joining as an exhibition team. They're going to be one of the teams that helps fill in and you know uh, when we run into any kind of scheduling conflicts, whether that's a team cancellation or an extra game. The Indiana Shuckers are a team that that's going to be stepping in, playing some exhibition games throughout the season, and they are, looking forward to this matchup just as we are. Last year, we had that matchup against the Shuckers at their venue before the season, the preseason game, and that was, kind of an eye opener going into the season. We saw the Shuckers get the best of us, but we did wind up getting their leading scorer, Lawan Whitney. He wound up going on to becoming the Instigators' inaugural season leading scorer, and having the most points in a single game as well, and the best 3-point shooting in Instigators' history so far as well. So even though we may have lost that game, we did add one of our key players from that preseason game last year. So that is something to keep an eye on as well. It's an additional way for us to scout some talent too. But I know that is definitely a matchup that both we and the Shuckers are really looking forward to. Bragging rights obviously on the table again in this series. Obviously, we want to get that series all even up. Hopefully make it 1-1. But for now, the Shuckers are ahead in the series, 1-0. And I think this is kind of a tradition that we'll wind up keeping every season before we jump into the regular season. And then obviously, if the Shuckers do wind up taking that next step and joining the ABA at a full level, that's definitely a team we would love to match up against, throughout our seasons in the ABA. But for now, they are signed up for this next season. They will be joining as an exhibition team. But that is going to be fun. A lot of guys that are familiar with the Shuckers and the IBL. Obviously, we were involved with the IBL Gold Cup this summer, so we always enjoy being involved with the IBL, the Shuckers, and all those people associated with them. But that is coming up soon. Again, that is next week, next Friday, literally a week from today. Um, they will be matching up in an exhibition game to get some additional practice before we get into that first game of the ABA season. So bragging rights on the line, and the potential to get some more scouting in for us and help build that team chemistry before we jump into the upcoming season. And we haven't made any official announcements about this yet. This was kind of something that we got thrown together last minute, but let's jump into a little bit of breaking news. We'll probably post something about this either tonight or tomorrow, but we'll do this here, so everybody on the podcast will hear it first. We jumped back onto Brad Perez's car. We jumped on for that Chicago race. He is racing a car that is locked in this week, so he is going to be in the race. No worries when it comes to qualifying. He is automatically locked into this race based off of how many people entered and the owner points with this car. And he is going to be driving the number 45 car. And you see there, the hood sponsor is actually Apex. It's not Apex Athletic Collective, but that is pretty fitting. And he did shout us out there. If you see on his Twitter, go ahead and follow him on Twitter and all of his social medias. But you can see there is his Twitter there at Brad X Perez. But you got a shout out from him, and you can see we are on this is what they call the C pillar of the race car. So it's on that back half of the car. You got the driver name, and then as the car piece comes down. We have our logo right there, on that roof rail coming down towards the back end of the car. But real cool to be on board again for another time. This time we will officially be in the race though. So keep your eye on that number 45 Chevrolet tomorrow, and we will hopefully see that car on TV a few times throughout the day. They have practice in the morning as well as qualifying, and then the race in the afternoon. But excited to be a part of this again with Brad Perez. And he's a great guy to be partnered with. He is excited for this partnership as well, with the Hoosier State Instigators. But shout out to him. Thanks for the shout out on social as well from him. But go ahead and catch that race tomorrow. We'll jump into, but you see, he's got a pretty cool paint scheme, and again, that's not the Apex Athletic Collective, but that's actually Apex Coffee is the main sponsor for this car this week. But pretty fitting, that's the name on the hood when you got the instigators there. But we'll jump into a little bit more. That's the same thing. So race info. 4 p.m. is the race tomorrow. That is live on the CW as far as the channel. If you are looking to watch the race, let me pull up. I know I had up here the other information. Practice is at 11 tomorrow, and qualifying is at 11:40. Believe both of those are on the NBC Sports app, but may have to double check that. But I believe that is on the NBC Sports app for practice and qualifying. The race, though, will be live on the CW at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Again, that car is locked in, so no worries about whether or not it's going to be racing. It will be in the race. And hopefully we get ourselves on TV this time. That would be pretty cool. But the number 45 Chevrolet, that is Alpha Prime Racing. That is the race team, and this is actually the 1.5 mile speedway debut for our driver Brad Perez. He does typically run the road courses, but this will be his first time in the Xfinity Series running a 1.5 mile speedway. And if you're familiar with NASCAR, that's actually a pretty common type of track that they run at, is the 1.5 mile tracks. But it is at Kansas Speedway. So we do have that going on. If anybody does live out there, go ahead and, support our driver Brad Perez in the number 45 car, where you can catch it on the CW tomorrow. But now that he's got the instigators on the car for a second time, he's actually if you follow him on social again, he found a basketball court inside the racetrack. I guess in the campgrounds, at somewhere inside of that track, towards the campgrounds, there's actually a basketball court there, which is pretty cool. I didn't even realize that ahead of time. And he was practicing his skills, trying to see if he can develop the skills to maybe become an instigator. But he was playing basketball this weekend here, actually tonight, with a fellow NASCAR driver. So that's pretty cool to see, that we've got our logo on that car. We have the instigators on the number 45 of Brad Perez's car this week, and he's out there playing basketball in his spare time before he goes out there and races at Kansas Motor Speedway tomorrow. So pretty cool partnership. Hopefully we'll continue to do this in the future. But I'm sure we'll post something on social as well, if you happen to catch this after the fact. But that is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern on the CW. Again, we'll be riding on the track at Kansas on the number 45 Chevrolet Alpha Prime Racing, the Apex Roasters Coffee uh, car driven by Brad Perez. We are on that Seif pillar. So that is really cool. And that again is his debut on the 1.5 mile tracks. And let's jump into the next thing. So I know we've mentioned this several times in the past, but if you are not already one of our Patreon subscribers, um, go ahead over to our Patreon. That's going to be patreon.com/Apex Athletic Collective. And if you're watching this live, I'm pretty sure you're already a part of our Patreon. But if not, go ahead and go there, join our Patreon. There's a couple of different tiers you can join. If you do join at that fan voter or higher tier, we have been doing some exclusive things for those fan voter or higher tiers. Um, this past week, there was a surprise scrimmage that we actually dropped for, again, that fan voter or higher tier. And in that scrimmage, we got to see our guys match up against some local talent. And, these guys have uh, pretty good talent. Some former D1 players that we matched up against, but that's throughout some of our scrimmages that we've done that. We've got some pretty good talent we've been going up against, trying to build that team chemistry. Not just practicing. Drills, but going up in scrimmages as well to help build a team. But that was myself, Frosty, and several of our players were a part of that, and even some of the, even the coaches were actually a part of that too. So if you join the Patreon and you're the fan voter or higher tier, you can go over there, rewatch this, and get a little more insight as we go into this season, and hear the player side. I think that's the best part of this, if I'm being honest, is we had a bunch of players show up and help, provide their commentary and feedback throughout this scrimmage broadcast. So to have their perspective on it, see what they're looking forward to in this upcoming season, and then obviously, this was a debut for some of the guys on the camera side. So we got to learn a little bit about some of our new guys on the team, and this also gives you an exclusive look at the roster before that official announcement is with the final roster and the official roster going into the season. But you get to see the player's perspective. I think that again is the coolest thing, and then we also have the coaches jump on and provide their feedback as well. But that is again exclusive for the fan voter higher tier. We also had a vote going on as far as home and away jerseys for those fan voter or higher tiers. So throughout the season, we're going to continue to have exclusive votes for fan voter or higher tiers. But yeah, you can go ahead and join at patreon.com/Apex Athletic Collective and get yourself exclusive, voting options throughout the season and exclusive, broadcast and content as well. So that is, a little teaser there for our Patreon content. We'll jump over. I'm gonna go to the website here. I know we've been jumping over to the website a few times here. Let's jump over there. So we are back on to our web page. I've got it pulled up to the sponsor page here. As you can see, we are growing that sponsor page. So this is going to continue to grow throughout the season, growing into the season. But we had one announcement I know we had this past week was Fisher's Cryotherapy. They are an official sponsor for this upcoming season. So that was one of our announcements this past week on social. And you can see we'll have at least six there sponsors, and we'll have official announcements on all of them. Again, that first game is presented by the Stites family. We've got Evolve Sports as well. They are the player sponsor for Mike Pugh. And you see there, we got a couple of other sponsors we'll be making announcements for as well going into make some announcements going into the season there. But all of our sponsors, have the opportunity. If you want to become a sponsor, you can get your logo here on the website. And then we also have some package information here on the website under that sponsors tab. That's where I am right now. We'll jump to that main screen, and you see we updated it again. Now that we have that updated schedule, we've got that up there. Some more information about sponsorships, and then again, that broadcast that we were on for television. And you've got our tabs here at the top, the watch tab, that'll get you right over to our YouTube channel. So you can rewatch all of your favorite content throughout the first season. We have all those games up there. The podcasts, you can catch up on those. Live podcasts, though, again, are on the Patreon. Same with live games are on Patreon. um, but you do have the option there. We've got some shorts and highlights and such. Learn more about the Instigators. We're still working on getting that updated again once we get that full official announcement for the roster. But you can go back and check out some stats from season one as well as all-time records. The Oakland Ballers, you can go on that, and that'll get you a link directly over to their website. We had a special fan vote for that, again, fan voter higher tier, to see if that was something we should be involved with. And that was overwhelmingly voted for us to become a partial ownership of that. Minority owner of the Oakland Ballers. So now we've got that as well. So you can go on there, learn more about the Ballers, learn about ways to get involved. If you are considering being a player for the Instigators in the future, you can click on that. Fan voters, again, that is again on our Patreon, volunteers and interns as well. You can learn more about that under that Get Involved tab. And I think if you do fan voters, let's see. Yeah, we've got our Patreon information here as well. And the link is directly right here. So you can go to the bottom, click on that link for the Patreon. That'll get you right over there. Then we've got our shop. We're continuing to update this as we get closer to the season. Once we get that official roster, we'll have player jerseys for all of our guys. Then we're working on that player exclusive line. So we got the AB shirt is up there already. Then we've got the Chuck Blue shirt up there as well. And then, we've got the sponsors, then the tickets page. This is updated now. So if you click on the ticket page, it will redirect you. Let's jump over there. So I'll stop sharing this screen and then we'll jump to the new ticket screen. That way it is embedded a little bit better. So let's jump over there. So now it goes right over here to the Passage website, and that is going to get you directly over here to all of our games. But again, that first game coming up, that is that free matchup. That's next week. If you want to make it out to that game, that's at Best Choice Fieldhouse. Again, our new home venue in Fishers, Indiana. This is an exhibition game against the Indiana Shuckers. But you can go ahead and get your tickets here. You just click register. And then again, there is no charge necessary. So you can get free tickets for that game. And then you can also buy your season tickets right up here at the top. You can buy them there, or you can get individual game tickets for each of the games. You have the option here to get individual game tickets. So if we go on that, our graphic here, then you just click there to get tickets. And you can buy tickets there, and then it'll come up with the option for your season tickets as well. But that is now if you go and click on the ticketing or the tickets on the website, the Apex of Sports website, it will redirect you there to the Passage site, and that is the official way to get tickets for this upcoming season. But that is the updates we got to the website right now that I wanted to point out for this week's episode. And it looks like my camera got cut off again. Let's jump on. So there we go. Looks like that should fix it. Um, but again, if you're not able to make it out there in person for the games, you can join the Patreon and stream the games live. But that is the two ways, the two best ways at least to catch the games live is either going to be through Patreon or through getting tickets and being there in person. I'm not sure, but I don't think we have quite hit the level yet where you can stream our games off of some of those the pirating websites, as far as I'm aware. So it's either going to be through the Patreon, or if you're able to make it there in person on our tickets and catch those games. And I thought I'd go ahead and just share some of the upcoming game graphics. That was one of the things I helped work on throughout last season. I helped work on for this upcoming season. These aren't official yet, but these are some of the graphics that we are working on as far as game announcements. So I know last year we had, pretty much like the same border, and then we just had the team logos and then the date and time and information like that for each of the games. So I tried to be a little bit more creative this year with some of these designs. Again, we haven't officially announced these designs yet, and they might be tweaked before we get into the official designs. But these are at least what we've got for now that I've been working on. So figured we'd go ahead and give all of our loyal viewers here an first look, an inside look at what what we've been working on, what I've been working on with some of these graphics. And hopefully this is a step up, and then also this is a way, if you guys have any critiques or ideas for our graphics, I am definitely open to them. So you can go ahead and you can contact me directly, through the Discord. If you're on Discord, I'm on that, Big Sap 99. So you can definitely hit me up there. We're on social media. You can let me know. It's either at Jake the MVF if it's on Instagram, or on Twitter it is at Jakey Muffins. So you can let me know directly, or you can always comment here to the video. But this is what I have been working on going into some of these designs. So a little bit more creative. Hopefully these are, some of the cooler designs that we've been working on going into the season. So we've got that matchup there, November 16th against the Ohio Kings. That is the one that I have been working on for that. But trying to incorporate some designs from both the instigators and whatever the team we're playing against. Going into these designs, at least in my mind. Obviously King, the castle, and then you got the Gators right outside there. And that is the design that I came up with for that. So there's a exclusive first look at that, and we'll share one more for tonight. These obviously we still got plenty of games. I don't want to put all of them out there for right now, but we'll share that one, and then we'll do one more again exclusive look here for all of our loyal viewers on the Instigate Success Building an ABA franchise podcast, the official podcast of the Hoosier State Instigators. Here is the other exclusive look at one of our other designs I have been working on for our upcoming season. So a little bit of a more minimalist look on this one. You got some Gators playing cards. We're playing the Nashville Aces. So, like I said, I'm trying to incorporate some aspects for obviously our team, the Instigators. That's going to be pretty much a Gator in all of these graphics. And then incorporating some element of the team, the Kings with the castle, the Aces, obviously, cards. So they're got some Gators playing cards. And then, they're sitting at the ABA table, and that is the exclusive look I've got for you. Hopefully you guys like those designs, and again, if you have any recommendations, any comments, go ahead and let me know. I definitely am, we're trying to improve, going into this second season, improve on everything. So if there's anything that you feel like I could improve upon, or if you like these graphics, obviously that's also cool too. But hopefully we'll have some more cool graphics going into this upcoming season, and hopefully take that next step as far as it comes to our social medias going into the second season. But that is. I think that is pretty much it for this week's episode. We'll just jump back into the reminders here. Again, we are just under at this point a month out for our first home game. Get your home game tickets if you are planning on going. And if you can make that trip out there, I know I'm going to be doing that myself for that first home opener at the Best Choice Fieldhouse in Fishers, Indiana, October 26th, 7:30 p.m. against the Louisville Pros. Again, that matchup is presented by the Stites family, one of our wonderful sponsors. But we got a month out until that. Less than a month, though. We've got next week is against the Indiana Shockers. Again, you could get tickets to that. No cost associated with that game. Exhibition game, though, against the Indiana Shockers a week from today, October 4th. We will match up against our first ever, our first ever matchup. We had that preseason matchup against the Indiana Shockers as we look to avenge our first loss. And that'll be a fun matchup there. Again, against the Indiana Shockers, the IBL representative, as they make their jump into their first ABA season, and we will be going into our second. But that is going to be a fun matchup next week. And the final reminder, we'll go back to the race again tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the CW. You can catch Brad Perez in the Bean Machine with the Hoosier State Instigators. Again, up on that panel right there, we've got ourselves the Instigators logo on that Apex branded race car, the number 45 Chevrolet of Alpha Prime Racing. Again, practice is at 11, qualifying 11:40 a.m., but the race is 4 p.m. Eastern on the CW. That car is locked in to that race, the Xfinity Series race at Kansas Motor Speedway. That will be again 4 p.m. Eastern on the CW. Our first time ever on a car for a race, like a full race. So that is going to be really cool. Again, hopefully, somehow we'll get ourselves on TV. That'd be pretty cool. But even if not, we have this awesome partnership here with Brad Perez, and definitely go ahead and follow him on social, as well as all of our amazing sponsors that we have. Go on the check us out on our socials. We've been posting about some of our amazing sponsors and ways you can go and follow them as well. But that is going to do it for tonight's episode. Thank you, as always, to all of our loyal viewers for Instigate Success, building an ABA franchise, the official Hoosier State Instigators podcast. This has been episode 61. And until next time, as always, be great and instigate.